Hello, thank you for joining me. I am Tina. I'm an analytical thinker from the linear world who is 5 years into my journey of self-awakening, and I'm here to share with you a few tools which have served me well as I venture down this path of self-transformation. This is video number 14 of 14. I posted my very first video about 2.5 months ago as an introduction as to why I would begin a YouTube channel at the age of 50. If you'd like to watch that introductory video, feel free to hop over to that. But quite simply, this series of 14 videos is to assist people like me coming from a more linear mindset step on or further down this path of self-awakening. Today's topic that we're going to discuss, our final chapter, is our truth. Our truth is actually the 13th chapter of the book that I've been writing and goes by the same title as these videos, which is The Spiritual Awakening of an Analytical Mind. As I've mentioned in past videos, the call to write this book started coming into my life about 2.5 years ago, and then more recently was the call to do these videos to get nuggets of information out into maybe a broader audience's hands while I'm going through the editing and publishing process, which I'll go into a little bit more detail as to where that stands right now. But again, this is the final chapter of the book, so therefore the final video of this series, and we'll see where we go from there. So our truth. The stepping stones that we've discussed throughout these videos and are therefore the chapters of these books have been leading us up to our truth. And that's the most authentic version of ourselves, I would say. In walking this new path that we are on, we're already creating this better, more sparkly version of ourselves. We're already walking with more authenticity, more love, light, integrity, kindness, gratitude, compassion, humility, love of ourselves, love of others, but at the same time, holding maybe less fear, holding less judgment within ourselves as well. These steps alone make this whole journey we're on, it makes it worth taking these steps, right? These steps alone make us have a more positive impact on the world and contributing to raising the universal consciousness, because this is our truth, this is our purpose in this lifetime, and this is everyone's purpose in this lifetime. But being the creatures that we are in our linear mindsets and our wanting to get things done, we think there needs to be more for us to contribute, more for us to succeed at, which this isn't that kind of a journey, I guess. And perhaps we get frustrated with figuring out the process or what our purpose is, and often, quite honestly, if we're honest with ourselves, that's our ego stepping in, right? I can share with you that in those moments, those aren't the moments to push, those aren't the moments to try to control. We just need to walk with those qualities that we just discussed, and we need to release control to the universe, and then that magic starts to flow in and things start to arrive when and where they're meant to arrive. So let's dig into this a little bit today. We'll break this chapter up into 3 categories as normal. They will be our path, our purpose, and our truest self. So to begin, let's get started on our path. As I just mentioned, these videos have been kind of little snippets of the chapter since I was trying to keep them to 15 minutes. And the book goes into a little bit more detail on each. But with that said, we've covered a fair number of topics. Have we explored everything? No, we have not, but that's okay. I think we've covered quite a bit. And I know that you're going to uncover other gems that are meant for you in order to make this your unique journey, as we're all different, as we've discussed over and over again. And I'm beyond excited for you to have that opportunity. We self-design this journey, quite honestly. But then there's those situations where we may not be expecting something to enter our path, may not even be on our radar. And so I thought it would be fun to share with you a little story that has been my more recent twist, and I've kind of referenced it here and there throughout these videos, but haven't really given you a lot of information on it. But I thought, given it's the last video and it's pertinent to this, I would share. So again, my most recent twist to my journey that was very, very, very unexpected. So as I've mentioned when we discussed our spiritual toolbox, that I did not have a lot in my spiritual toolbox. I didn't do licenses and certifications or different modes of anything, and I just plugged along. Did I have some magic? Absolutely. I had magic coming and go, and it's kind of like a golf game, I guess, in some ways, that you have that one good stroke and then it keeps you going back. Not that I play golf a whole lot after having kids, but back in the day. So I was kind of meandering on this path, and I had the clear call to write the book, even though I wasn't a writer. And I'm like, okay, that's my purpose for this time. But I didn't look at it as magical, I guess. I didn't look at it as anything involving my intuition necessarily. And then on October 9th, 2020, I was sitting in this chair and I was finishing up something and I needed to go out to an appointment. And I got up from my desk and walked across the room. And the best way for me to describe it is that I sensed words. Because it wasn't that I heard them, I just sensed them very strongly. And that is not something that I was expecting or that was, part of my, I don't even know. It wasn't part of who I was or what was happening to me or anything. And the words that I sensed, let me get it right, was the oddity of the night. And it stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, that's strange. So I walked back over here to the desk, and I had a notebook open with other jots down there, and I wrote the oddity of the night ? And wrote the date. And then before I could leave the desk, the rest of it came. So it was the oddity of the night, and then it was cannot mask the light that shines from within to reveal our soul. And that's about the point I sat down in my chair, like, holy Hannah, what is this? So I sat there for a second, not knowing what that was all about, and then they came. And over the next 15 to 20 minutes, 27 of these verses came through very quickly with absolutely no thought on my part. And they were written, or they were not written, they came through with words of the past and kind of phraseology of the past as well, for the most part. And I just wrote. And actually at one point, after the 27, I was like, okay, stop. I've got to get out of here. So I left and ironically forgot my mask. So I came back into the house, and they started coming again. So I grabbed some sticky notes and went into the car and started writing some more. When I returned to the house, they kept going. And as all of us with families know, life doesn't stop. So I think I was making dinner, cutting onions, chopping onions up. And I asked, what the hell is this kind of thing? And what I received was these words. Feel the truth within, write the words you feel, understand you are a vessel for the light that must now be. In all, over the course of the afternoon, I received 50 of these verses. And some of them were just, kind of like that first one. And then they went to one lines, and then there was some rhyming in a few. But it was the craziest thing, right? Imagine how you would handle that, coming from our similar mindset and not receiving or thinking I had a lot of intuition. It was nuts. So that kept going for the next few weeks. I mean, starting the next day and all that. And trust me, I had some messages about what I had the capacity to handle and all that kind of good stuff. I tried to control it a little bit, but that wasn't the answer. And, I'm going to stop short of going into more detail. Maybe I could do a video later and kind of explain what this path has been. But it's I guess my point in sharing this is that you just never know where this journey is going to take you, where this path is going to lead you. So just be open. It's crazy at times. Like I said, I didn't expect these messages. But now here I sit, I receive them every day. As long as I sit and open myself up to receiving. I receive messages every single day, and it varies as to what I use them for. And I'm still figuring out what I use them for the outside world. But I use them personally almost every day. Okay, I could go down a big rabbit hole with that, but let's switch to the second category, which is, our purpose. So I want you to keep in mind, or we should all keep in mind, that by walking in this light from our heart center, right? The love, the light, the compassion, the gratitude, the kindness, we are fulfilling our purpose just by doing that. That is the driving force for everyone. But then there's our individual purpose, the holy grail for many of us, right? And if we really want to analyze that, it's really our ego getting in the way, that I know there's more, I want to succeed, I want to do this. But, is this where we get to leave our personal touch to our journey? Is it like picking a major in college and then going forward? Absolutely not a chance. For our individual purpose to arrive, we must release control, and then it will arrive, and then it will evolve. Because our calling today, or our purpose today, is but a stepping stone for our purpose tomorrow, and so on and so forth. We're simply, stepping forward and supporting the raised universal consciousness, and we are evolving. We continue on our path, and likely we'll have another stepping stone placed beyond that. That's our journey. So for me, getting this book published is my calling today, but I know it's merely a stepping stone for whatever that undefined end is. And quite honestly, there's other stepping stones that are now starting to show themselves, that once this publication's done, what my path will be after that. So keep that all in mind. I think we just continue to move forward. We trust, put our trust out in the universe, and we just relinquish the control to it. And I think that's when the magic really occurs, because in the end, we don't know what our end purpose is. We're never going to know what the end purpose is, because it changes, it evolves, that benchmark moves out forward. And the sooner we make peace with that, the more peaceful that existence is going to be, right? Okay, so another thing to keep in mind, as I knew this video was going to go a little bit long today, but we'll move on through, is that this journey does not have to derail everything in our life up to this point. Okay, we've all worked very hard in our preset plans to get to where we are in our careers and things. And if we have a passion for our existing career, and we live from our heart space, with all the qualities that we've already discussed, we're already making, a huge positive difference that's rippling out into the community, and for some, that ripple effect is going to be exponential, depending on your job. If you see or have interaction with, a number of people every single day, then think of that ripple going outward. So you're fine. Don't think that this journey has to, cross all that stuff off and you're starting over. That's not the case. Now, there are those of us who may not have that passion for our careers, and we may be the ones who say the most, what is my purpose? And for those people, my advice is this: you have to have that underlying purpose that is true for everybody, right? That living from heart center with love, light, compassion, gratitude, kindness, humility. You have to have that. That has to be the core and the underlying undercurrent of everything as you're searching for your individual purpose, because without that, you're always going to be searching. You have to live from that space. So that's my advice on that piece. Okay, last category. We're already at 14 minutes. Last category is our truest self. And throughout this book, and I don't know that I've really referenced it in the videos, but on my website a year ago, I was sharing stories of just some of these amazing women, and I always kind of put this little phrase in there, which is, we are creating our own unique path on our journey toward our truest self. So for this section, we're going to look at who exactly is our truest self. My interpretation of our truest self includes authenticity, who we are when everything is stripped away, and then include the love, light, compassion, gratitude, kindness, and all that stuff, our heart space. So that authenticity is wrapped into it. When we live in this space, we're already contributing toward the raised universal consciousness. We have discovered our place within this purpose, and we're living from a place of genuine truth in who we are. And given that phrase that I just said, or that quote, whatever you want to call it, we say toward our truest self, we know that we evolve, like we just discussed. It's forever going to evolve. And that's with anything in life anyway, right? So I want to share another little bit with you about these messages. So soon after that initial round of messages came through, I began receiving messages for individuals. And again, not knowing what I was to do with that, I began sharing them out with some people. And before long, I received a general message for everyone, and it was a very clear call to action. And this was the message. These messages come to remind you all that your actions can create change in positive ways. Embrace your message. You all have a gift that needs to be shared. Each day you should ask yourself what you have done to share your gift today. So the above message was explained to me that it is going to take all of us to right the ship, that we each have a gift or gifts that need to be shared in this time. Some of the messages that came through were just, sharing stories or sharing somebody's stories with photographs. Some of it was sharing your smile, sharing your energy. Like there's one person had very positive energy when she walks into a room, and it was share that. Voice was another one. I know one person that's very big on charitable contributions, and that was the gift they need to share. And others were kindness. And so there was a whole slew of these that I shared out with different people. So this phase of the little message journey left me thinking that between living in our heart space and helping to raise the universal consciousness, which is true for everybody, right? Between that and then us discovering our individual purpose that evolves, there lies the sharing of our gifts. And I also believe that those gifts are more closely related to our authentic self. They often come from within our being. A person whose smile lights up a room was likely born with that smile. So as we project from our heart space all the love, light, kindness, gratitude, and compassion, and we relinquish our control and allow the universe to bring in our individual calling, I believe we have our gift, which we can use to be a light for others. And then we ask ourselves, as they suggested, we ask ourselves each day, what have we done to share our gift today? And so with that, I think that's a wrap of this series in this particular video on our truth in general. Thank you for listening to this one video, or for all the videos, or a couple of the videos that you may have watched. I am beyond appreciative. I'm still not exactly sure what I will do on future videos or how that's all going to evolve. I have some ideas, so stay tuned, I guess, on that, and we'll see what comes of it. As far as the book, last night I signed off on the final proof as far as all the exterior, interior design, and how the layout and all that kind of stuff. So we've done proof after proof of that, and we did the final one last night and sent it to, I'm going to say the press, but more the printer, who will be working to send me a print proof by the end of next week, it sounds like, just the timing of it. And once we approve that, then it will go to print. And they're estimating print turnaround right now is about 3 weeks. So I'm hoping that by mid-August I will have books in hand, which is super exciting. Each one of these steps is crazy for me to see this book come together. And once I have the book in hand, perhaps I will do a video and share the book with you, and hopefully by that time I'll have some links as to where you might be able to grab the book as well. And I think that's it for today. We're coming up in 20 minutes. I appreciate you hanging in there a little bit longer than normal. As always, much love and gratitude for you for joining me today, or whenever you should watch this video. And as always, thank you and have a great day.